The story begins in a cluttered garage in Brooklyn. Inside, two teenage geniuses, CJ and Sebastian, are about to attempt the impossible. They aren't hanging out like normal kids. They are building a machine. They are testing their temporal relocation packs, or TRPS, heavy backpacks filled with wires and circuits. Sebastian explains the risk. Spinning protons at the speed of light creates quantum foam to open a wormhole. It isn't a toy. It breaks down their molecular structure to pass through time and hopefully puts them back together. They also wear a device on their hands connected to the backpack through a pipe. They call it the time coordinate device, which is used to enter the time coordinates. With this energy, they can travel back only one day. It is the last day of school. Their teacher, Mr. Lockhart, talks to them about the upcoming science expo. CJ and Sebastian are the smartest kids there, hoping to use their time travel project to secure scholarships to MIT and Morehouse. Lockhart sees their potential, but asks a heavy question. If time travel were possible, what would you do? What would you change? CJ doesn't have an answer yet. She just focuses on college. As they leave school, they carry a secret. They took equipment from the lab without asking. Outside, they meet their friend Eduardo, who invites them to Puerto Rico for the summer. But CJ refuses. She is focused solely on the expo. As they walk home, the harsh reality of their neighborhood sets in. Standing outside a store is CJ's ex-boyfriend Jared, a known troublemaker. He spots CJ and starts bothering her, demanding to know what is in her bag. CJ tries to ignore him, but Jared persists. He insults her and lies about their past relationship in front of everyone. CJ, who has a short temper and hates disrespect, snaps. She attacks Jared, and an ugly, messy fight breaks out on the street. That is when CJ's older brother Calvin steps in. Calvin is different. He is working a regular job and trying to be responsible. He rushes over to protect his little sister, yelling at Jared and breaking up the fight. However, Calvin is also angry at CJ. He pulls her aside and scolds her, telling her she acts like a hood rat when she fights in the street. The comment hurts CJ deeply. She argues back, insisting she isn't a hood rat, and the argument gets loud. Suddenly, a police car pulls up. Two officers step out, aggressive and immediate in their assumptions. Seeing the scene, they demand IDs. Calvin tries to de-escalate the situation, telling them, "We good, like my kid sister just said." But the police don't listen. They get right in Calvin's face. CJ films the encounter on her phone, terrified yet defiant. The tension is high. Eventually, the police leave, but the fear lingers. It was a close call. Later, walking home, Calvin tries to make peace. He explains that he is the only big brother she has, and since their father, Pops, is gone, he needs to make sure she succeeds. "You going places, CJ," he tells her, "and since Pops is gone, I gotta make sure that you get there." He believes the two Walker siblings are going to explode into success. He shows her their father's military dog tags, joking that she can only have them over my dead body. It is a joke, but it feels heavy. That night, CJ works on her time machine, driven by ambition. But outside, the world is turning darker. The news covers protests for Francis Pierre, a boy killed by police, leaving the neighborhood angry and sad. Then July 4th arrives. It is supposed to be a celebration, but for CJ's family, it becomes a nightmare. Calvin and his friend Dennis are walking down the street just as two other men rob a nearby bodega and run away. The police arrive looking for the robbers and see Calvin and Dennis. It is a case of mistaken identity. The news later reports that Calvin was allegedly reaching for something, though a witness says he was unarmed. The police shoot Calvin, and he dies. The story shifts from science to tragedy. CJ's world shatters. Her brother, who just wanted to protect her, is gone. The community erupts in protest, chanting "Black Lives Matter" and "People Power," but none of that brings Calvin back. CJ's mother's broken. She cries, telling CJ, "If I could go back and fix it, I would, but I can't." But CJ realizes something. Her mother can't go back, but she can. She has a machine in her garage that can reset the day. She runs to the garage where Sebastian is waiting. CJ tells him they have to go back. She is going to save Calvin. Sebastian is hesitant. He warns her about the time-space continuum, insisting, "We agreed no major changes." He is scared that altering the past could make things worse, but CJ doesn't care about the rules of physics anymore. "Look at where we are. Look at my brother," she screams. She accuses Sebastian of not caring because Calvin wasn't his brother, which hurts him deeply. He loved Calvin too. They look at the data. Calvin was shot 4 days ago on July 4th at 5:40 p.m. He was dead by 5:47 p.m. Their unstable machines give them only a 10-minute window to act. They have 10 minutes to save a life. They suit up and activate the machines. The world blurs, the energy surges, and they land in yesterday, 4 days ago. It is sunny, people are alive, but they have landed in the wrong spot. They run into the neighborhood bully, Jared, again. Jared is angry about the fight from days ago and blocks their path. CJ and Sebastian try to run past him, but he pushes them. A scuffle breaks out. In the chaos, Jared falls into the street. A speeding car hits him. It is a terrible accident. Jared screams, his arm broken. The distraction costs them precious time. They look at the clock. The 10 minutes are up. The wormhole is closing. They didn't make it to Calvin. They failed. They have to jump back to the present. When they return to the present, the world has changed, but not in the way they wanted. Calvin is still dead. The only difference is that Jared now has a cast on his arm. They changed history, but they didn't save the person who mattered. CJ is furious, but Sebastian tries to be the voice of reason. "We didn't invent time travel for you to get back at your ex-boyfriend," he tells her. He is worried about unforeseen outcomes and the butterfly effect, how small changes can create disasters. But CJ refuses to give up. She works out a new plan. She realizes the police shooting happened because they were responding to a robbery at Carlito's bodega. If she can stop the robbery, the police won't come. If the police don't come, they won't mistake Calvin for a robber. Calvin lives. It sounds perfect, but there is a problem. They can't run into their past selves, the version of CJ and Sebastian who are already in that timeline from the first jump. To avoid this paradox, they need more power to stabilize the jump and create a time splice. They need a special circuit board, and the only person who has one is Eduardo. They go to Eduardo, who is hesitant to sacrifice his own project. CJ uses every tactic she has, even promising to go on a date with him. Eduardo eventually agrees. He modifies their machines, explaining that this new setup will reset their previous jump so they won't bump into themselves. They are ready for the second attempt. This time the stakes are even higher. They prepare to jump back to the moment before the robbery. They arrive in the past at 5:30 p.m. The robbery is scheduled for 5:35 p.m. They have 5 minutes. CJ calls the police to report the crime before it happens, hoping they will arrive early and arrest the robbers, but the dispatcher asks too many questions, wasting precious seconds. Frustrated, CJ hangs up. She decides she can't wait. "I'm just going in to warn Carlito," she tells Sebastian. He begs her to wait, knowing it is dangerous, but CJ is driven by adrenaline. She runs toward the store. Sebastian has no choice. He follows her. Inside, Carlito is confused. He just saw CJ fighting with Jared minutes ago in this timeline and asks why she is back. CJ tries to warn him, but it is too late. The robbers enter, 2 men with guns. They scream at everyone to get on the ground. The situation spirals out of control instantly. The robbers demand money, then notice the backpacks CJ and Sebastian are wearing. Sebastian tries to protect the machine. He struggles with the gunman. Bang! The sound echoes through the store. CJ screams. Sebastian falls to the ground, blood pooling around him. The robbers flee. CJ crawls to her best friend. Sebastian looks at her, fading fast. "I didn't know," he whispers, apologizing. CJ shakes him, begging him to wake up. "Come on, Sebastian. You gotta wake up." But he doesn't. He dies right there on the dirty floor of the bodega. CJ is forced to jump back to the present alone, leaving her best friend's body behind. The story returns to the present, but it is a new, darker reality. A funeral is taking place. The pastor stands at the pulpit and speaks the name Sebastian Jefferson Thomas. Sebastian was only 16, a boy with dreams of being a scientist. Now he is gone. CJ sits in the pew, numb. She tried to save one life and ended up losing the only person who understood her. Her mother tries to comfort her, saying, "We still have each other," unaware of the crushing guilt CJ carries. CJ goes to her room broken, but then the door opens. In walks Calvin. He is alive. Because the robbery was interrupted, the police never mistook him for the robber. Calvin survived, but the cost was Sebastian's life. Calvin stands there holding the funeral program, confused. He has found CJ's notes. "Explain to me what's going on," he demands, "'cause ain't nothing been right around here since Sebastian got murdered." He tells CJ he feels survivor's guilt, like he is the one who should be dead. CJ admits the truth about the time machine. At first, Calvin thinks she is crazy, but soon realizes she is serious. He warns her, "I don't think it's a good idea for you to do anything right now," and threatens to destroy the machines. But CJ cannot accept this trade. She looks him in the eye and says, "I know how to fix this now." Calvin asks how she plans to do that without getting them both killed. CJ realizes the hard truth. She needs help. The machine is damaged, and Sebastian was the one who knew how to fix it. She can't do it alone. She needs a new partner. CJ goes to Eduardo's house in the middle of the night, bringing Calvin with her. Eduardo is shocked to see them. He is mourning Sebastian too. "You brought your brother to my house?" he asks, but CJ tells him everything. She explains that Sebastian is dead because of a mistake in the timeline, but they can save him. Eduardo, a genius himself, listens. He admits it is stupid crazy, but he agrees to help. He examines the broken TRP. He claims he can fix it using quantum circuit boards to create an individual time splice. This will allow CJ to go back to that fatal moment, rescue Sebastian, and reset the timeline so Sebastian never even knows he died. CJ prepares for the final, desperate jump. She tells Eduardo, "You'll never forget this." He replies, "Yes, you will." Remember, none of this happened? Eduardo gives his final instructions. Go back, tell Sebastian exactly what happened. Try to get to us before we hit Malcolm X Court, and then bolt out of there. He warns her to stay far away from the bodega. Calvin is there too, scared for his little sister. He hands her his dog tags, the real ones this time. "Just be safe, Claudette," he says. "I don't want nothing to happen to you." CJ takes a deep breath. "I'll see you yesterday," she says. She activates the machine. The world warps, the lights flash, and suddenly she is back. She is back in the past, moments before the chaos begins. The street sounds are familiar. Domino players shouting, vendors yelling. It is the same day repeating again. CJ moves fast, knowing exactly where she needs to be. She has to intercept her brother and her past self before they make the mistake of going into the bodega. She runs through the streets and spots Calvin and Dennis walking just moments before the police arrive. She also sees her past self and the past Sebastian walking toward the danger. "Calvin! Calvin!" she screams, grabbing them frantically. The past versions of Calvin and Dennis are confused, seeing CJ dressed in strange time travel gear. Dennis laughs, asking if they are Space Odyssey wannabes, but CJ doesn't have time for jokes. She pulls out the funeral program from her pocket, the one with Calvin's face fading in and out of existence, and shows it to him. Calvin is terrified. "This shit's supposed to be funny?" Desperate, CJ pulls out the dog tags Calvin gave her in the future. "Remember these? You said, 'Over my dead body?' That's how I got these." Calvin checks his own neck. He is wearing his tags. He looks at the ones in CJ's hand. Two identical sets exist in the same moment. The impossible reality hits him. Just then, sirens wail. The police are coming. CJ tries to push them into an alleyway, but time is stubborn. The police car screeches to a halt, and the same aggressive officers jump out. "Don't touch your pockets. Keep your mouth shut." CJ tries to intervene, but they scream at her to stop. The tension breaks. Calvin is nervous. Dennis is scared. This is the exact moment Calvin died in the first timeline. CJ throws herself between the police and her brother, screaming, "He didn't do anything!" In the chaos, she grabs the confused past version of Sebastian to protect him from the fate she saw in the last timeline. "Sebastian!" she screams. The scene cuts to black. The story shifts back to the garage. CJ is there, and Sebastian is alive, but he is angry. He shouts at her, "Why didn't we stick to the plan and stop the robbers at the bodega?" He looks at her clothes and realizes they are different. Being a genius, he figures it out instantly. "How many times have you jumped back, CJ?" CJ lies and says, "Once," but Sebastian presses her. "We had a surefire plan. Why?" CJ breaks down, looking at the best friend who died in her arms in another life. "Because you died, Sebastian." Silence fills the garage. Sebastian is stunned. He realizes the cruel loop they are stuck in. If they save Calvin, Sebastian dies. If they save Sebastian, Calvin dies. Every time they try to fix it, something breaks. Sebastian looks at CJ with sad eyes. "No, CJ, that's it. We can't do this anymore." He refuses to risk their lives again and walks away, leaving CJ alone with her machines. But CJ is a walker. She is stubborn, and she refuses to accept a world where she has to choose between her brother and her best friend. She makes a decision. She puts the backpack on again and runs out of the garage, running toward a future she hasn't built yet. As she runs, her voice counts down. 5. Flashes of her memories appear. 4, 3. Police sirens wail in the distance. She whispers one last thing to the universe. "I love you, Sebastian." And then she jumps again. The story ends not with a solution, but with a relentless fight. CJ is trapped in a loop of her own making, driven by love and grief. She proves that while you cannot outrun fate, you can keep fighting for the people you love as long as there is breath in your body. So that's it for today's video. If you like this story, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. We'll meet again with another new and interesting story. Until then, thank you.
अब आओ ना फिर से मिल जाओ ना फिर से जलाओ ना मुझे मिटाओ ना यूं दिल से अब आओ ना फिर से मिल जाओ ना फिर से जलाओ ना मुझे मिटाओ ना यूं दिल से कोई प्यार ना दे यूं जैसे मुझको चाहती है तू, जमाने के जैसी न बन, मेरे यार जैसी है तू। जमाना जलाता मुझे, लगाती गले फिर से तू। मैं गिर के उठा हूँ अभी, हर चीज सिखाती है तू। मैं लिख आया कहानी अपनी जो बीती जिंदगानी, अपनी जो खोया मैंने है वो खोया मैं रात जाग के हूँ रोया। मैं लिख आया कहानी अपनी जो बीती जिंदगानी, अपनी जो खोया मैंने है वो खोया मैं रात जाग के हूँ रोया रोया रोया। ख्वाहिश मेरी रह गई, तुझसे मिलूं मैं कभी, तुझको मैं प्यार दूं और बेशुमार दूं। दिल तो जला है बहुत, इसकी सजा है बहुत, फिर भी तेरा ही रहा, मेरी नहीं मानता। जितना भी चाहूं तुम्हें, मिलना है दर्द मुझे, होता है क्या इस तरह कोई भी इश्क यहाँ। तुम जो मेरी ना बनी, किसको बताता फिरूं ये दाग दिल अपना, किसको दिखाता फिरूं। वक्त बदलता है सबका, तुझको तो इसका पता था, फिर मुंह क्यों मोड़ गई थी, मुझको यूं छोड़ गई थी। साथ निभाना था मैंने, दिल भी जलाना था मैंने, फिर क्यों मेरी ना बनी थी और ये सजा बन गई थी। जिसको मैं जीता रहा था, ये दर्द पीता रहा था। ऐसी निशानी है तू, ऐसी कहानी है तू। मैं लिख आया कहानी अपनी जो बीती जिंदगानी, अपनी जो खोया मैंने है वो खोया मैं रात जाग के हूँ रोया। मैं लिख आया कहानी अपनी जो बीती जिंदगानी, अपनी जो खोया मैंने है वो खोया मैं रात जाग के हूँ रोया रोया रोया। अब इसके पार है तेरा मेरा ठिकाना, अब इसके पार है तेरा मेरा ठिकाना, अब इसके पार है फिर तुझसे दिल लगाना, अब इसके पार है।